Are you looking for a game with great combat, interesting boss fights, while traversing a world that has two separate worlds overlapped on top of each other? If any one of those things sounded interesting to you, then maybe Lords of the Fallen is the game for you. Lords of the Fallen is a dark fantasy Souls-like action RPG where you play as a resurrected lamp bearer. As in most Souls-like games, the world has gone to crap and it's your job to try and put it back together. The reason I wanted to do a video for this game is because they recently came out with their final update. This update included a new veteran difficulty which essentially made the game harder in every way. It changed the attack patterns on the bosses, it made them hit harder, and all that fun stuff. And because I like my Dark Souls games harder, I always choose that harder difficulty, so you know I picked that when I started my new run. And other things included in this update were improvements to the technical performance of the game, which was something that plagued me when I first started playing this game in 2023. I actually had so many problems that I had to shelve the game, and then now for the first time in 2026 I'm coming back and I'm playing this game. The final thing that I did want to mention that was part of that update is they improved the combat. They made enemies faster, they made enemies hit harder, they made overall the combat just a faster feeling, fast-paced game, and it just makes it all the better. And not only did they add a final update, but they released a trailer for their new Lords of the Fallen game coming out, and it looks bloodier, harder hitting, and all the things that made Lords of the Fallen epic, and it just looks freaking sick. So I wanted to get this video out so that we can prepare ourselves for Lords of the Fallen 2. And that leads me to the first part of this game that I actually did want to talk about, which is the world. And right off the bat, Lords of the Fallen hits you with one of the most metal, medieval, dark fantasy worlds that you've ever seen. Around every corner is a dark, twisted enemy type that's just waiting to kill you. And then once that enemy actually does kill you, you end up being reborn in hell. And this isn't like a fire and brimstone type of hell. This is more of like a dark and depressing, no water exists here hell. And to be honest, this is one of the coolest aspects of this game. And not only do you see this world when you die for the first time with like your first life, but every time you pull out your lamp, which is a huge element and part of this game, you can peer into this dark dimension to essentially find other paths that exist inside the dark dimension to help circumvent possible obstacles that you have in this real world. And so not only are you exploring a singular world like a game like Elden Ring or any other Dark Souls game, you have two worlds that you can bounce between that have different secrets. They have different ways of navigating through the environment and different ways of interacting with the environment, and it just makes for a really cool and interesting gameplay loop. And I really want to make it known how impressive this is, because it's not like when you peer into this other world and then finally go there that there's a loading screen or anything like that. You literally are peering into the world as it's being rendered in real time. And so this means that if you see enemies inside this world as you're doing your little peep and tom into it, you can be attacked by those enemies. They'll see you and they'll attack you and you'll take damage from them. And so it's really cool to see the developers really lean hard into the dual world aspect of them being layered on top of each other, because it just makes for a game that is very different than other Souls-like games that I've played. If you've gotten this far in the video and you've liked what you've seen, remember to like and subscribe so you can see more content just like this. Now let's get right back to the video. And so now that you know that there's a lot going on with this game when it comes to these two worlds being layered on top of each other, the question still remains, what is the moment-to-moment gameplay going to look like? Well, the moment-to-moment gameplay is actually going to consist of a couple different things. First and foremost is the combat. You're going to be doing a hell of a lot of combat in this game, just like you would any other Souls-like. And so the combat consists of light attacks, heavy attacks, parrying, dodging, using magic, and and also using your lamp to pull the souls of enemies out of their bodies, leaving them open to a bunch of attacks. And I gotta say, this combat felt super fluid, super responsive, and I never felt like my character did something that I didn't want them to do. Every fight felt fair, every enemy had a pattern that I could learn and adapt to, and so I really did enjoy that whole combat experience that you get in this game. And same goes for the boss fights. There's a couple boss fights that stand out as spectacles to behold because you essentially fight them and they're doing these crazy, essentially godly moves on you, and you're just trying to survive. And so with the combat being as responsive and fluid as it is, with these boss fights being as spectacle to behold, you can't help but have a hell of a good time doing these combat experiences. And in between each of the combat encounters you're going to have, you're going to be exploring this world. It has optional bosses hiding throughout the world. It has loot that you can find everywhere on the map. But the thing is when it comes to the loot, not everything that's shiny is something that you should touch. Let me show you what I mean. No, you motherfucker! I don't even know what to call you. What the fuck are you? And so like you just saw, there's the equivalent of a mimic chest in this game. And it is the most terrifying experience the first time you go through it, and every subsequent time that you run into this motherfucker, I freaking hate it. But I mean, it makes for a fun exploration element because now every little shiny piece of loot that you see, you're gonna second guess whether or not you should pick it up or take the risk. And 9 times out of 10, I'm picking up that shit, but it always gets me every time. And one other aspect about the exploration that I do think is very interesting is the puzzle solving things in this game are actually pretty well done. While you're exploring this world, you'll come across these obstacles that you need to essentially go and take out in the Umbral world, and it's just a very fun and cool mechanic that's a different change of pace for a Souls-like game. And so not only do you have the option to explore the world that you start in, but you can switch over to the Dark Dimension world that I mentioned and find new loot, find new enemies, and different encounters that you wouldn't find in the other world. And so overall, when it comes to the combat and the exploration, I just want to say that this was really well done, especially in my experience. I've had a really good time exploring, I've had a good time doing the enemy encounters, and just having a fun overall experience with all of the different elements that are coming together in this game. So is this game for you? Well, if you're looking for a Souls-like that has a refined combat experience and a unique way of interacting with the world, then I would say Lords of the Fallen is a great one to pick up. And another plus for this game is it's pretty cheap. It's only $30 at max price, but it goes on sale all the time. And when it comes to my recommendation, I would recommend this game to anyone who's a Souls-like fan. And with the second Lords of the Fallen game already announced for 2026, now is the perfect time to jump in and see if this is a game for you. And who knows, maybe this will be your next favorite series.